Welcome to Julytober, the first of the month of Julytober, because as many of you have experienced, like I had to turn my heat on today. It's July. And so I'm like, woo, okay. The whole world is wonky and the whole world's gone mad and Mother Nature's along with them. We're going to hell in a handbasket, as someone would say. No, I'm kidding. Ultimately, we don't really know what's going to happen. And so I just keep trying to take that in stride. And I noticed today when things didn't go quite according to plan this morning, I was going to lie in and just have a little rest, and woke up and it was raining. I was like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden there was fence work being done. And you want to know how much of the fence got built today, people? Well, listen, folks, let me tell you, it was two posts got cemented into the ground today. Now, granted, they jackhammered a little out before they put them in, so there was a couple of stages to that, but it seemed to have taken the entire day, which is always so amazing to me. So I was in a bit of resistance about the fence just not being done and not quite understanding why it couldn't be done. And so I found myself a bit crunchy and a bit in resistance and that feeling. And I knew I was there, and instead of reacting and making everyone else's life hell, I, decided to really dissect that. Like, what's going on for me? I have so much to be grateful for. I took a pretty big plunge yesterday and paid for a registration of my application. I have an interview next week. I will likely be in school for therapy training with Clear Mind in Prac 1 as of September, which will be tomorrow, being that March was yesterday. And so, ultimately I have all kinds of things to look forward to, including the stuff that's going on with Hilarity and how that's going to form and soar and grow. And even though I have all of these things that I'm plugged into, literally, and that quite literally saved my life in many circumstances and experiences, because ultimately, to have something that you're tethered to that makes sense to you, that brings you joy, that allows you to make a contribution and take something away from, gives you content, gives you uplifting energy and confidence in this place of, I don't really know what confidence looks like right now. I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm not sure where I've been. I'm not sure about a lot of things. And so those insecurities rose to the top today, and it certainly made an impact on how part of my day went. And ultimately, I was kind of nervous and scared. It's almost like buyer's remorse. You ever had that experience where you buy something, you know that you want it, there's a knowingness inside of you, you know that you want or need or desire this thing, whether it be a class, an opportunity, a workshop, a book, whatever it is that you're purchasing, but then you have that moment of, what have I done? Oh my God. And feel really raw and sort of out there in the ether and floating around and really vulnerable. So I know that was going on for me today, because even though I took the leap of faith, of course, pushed to the edge by the deadline, because I don't know that I would have made that leap of faith if it weren't for the deadline that was put in place. So when I come up to the deadline, I'm like, oh gosh, okay, so I'm not sure quite yet what I want to do, but you know what, I do have a desire, and there's this gap in between, and it's the unsure. I'm unsure about this place, and I'm not sure about what comes after this place, but I know that I can't stay here. And so in taking that leap and jumping into what's next in an opportunity in that direction, and also making a dedication to my fabulous nutritional health coach, who our 90-day session, 90 days I've been working with her, ends next week on July 6th. And she proposed to me that she would like to stay on and do a full year more with me. And so ultimately that was a pretty big decision to make. And ultimately I know the long-term goal is to work myself into a place of whole health. Mind, body, spirit. And so I also know that although I have weight that I carry that I'd like to leave. It's not my main focus. It's not where all my energy is going to. I'm not desperate. I don't need to climb on a scale. I don't need it to look like a certain thing or a certain way. And what she has agreed to is to really work on the nutrition part of that and the food part of that, because my relationship with food has been so out of whack for decades. And there's a lot of trauma underlying that. And I suspect that I'll be experiencing exactly what I need to unveil that as I go through prac and understanding my own pain, my own trauma, in order to uncover those things, to uproot them, dissect them, get rid of the stuff that no longer works for me, replant and regrow, and nurture the things that I have benefited from, and the things that I appreciate and love about myself through the trauma. Because not all of it is bad. There were bad things that happened or bad experiences that I had, but it doesn't need to define everything that I am. And today was a perfect indication of growth and understanding that, normally I would just be in this reactionary mood and all over the place. And instead of doing that, I was super aware that I was feeling all of that and constantly asking myself, okay, so please get to a better place. Please move to a place of gratitude. Please, like, what is it going to take in order to shake this feeling? And it took a lot today. It took time after time after time after time after time of being in resistance to the weather's bad. It's July 1st. Nothing's happening. People online, there's only 12 people, blah, blah, blah. All the stuff that I make up in a day that I could look at and frame as negative. And then ultimately being at the choice of, okay, so if it's not something that I want, what can I do? What will I do? In this moment, what can I do? What will I do? And continue to grapple with some of the stuff that comes up, but then allow it to also fall away and understand that it's not here to stay. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And ultimately, the anger, the aggression, the icky, the scratchy, crunchy stuff underneath there's a cause for it. So it's a long time buried history of intensity, mucky, messy, tragic, trauma, hate, anger, sadness, grief, you name it. It's all layer after layer after layer after layer. And so, to have an expectation that yesterday I was like, yeah, let's go. And today that I had a bit of, oh my gosh, what did I do? What have I decided? Where am I going? What am I doing? That kind of frenzied state, which has been the norm for a long time. And then to notice that I'm there and really evaluate, okay, so what is it that I'm reacting to? Let me take a look at that. Interesting. This is where it shows up, and here's where it shows up, and here's where it shows up, and here's where it shows up, and really try and grok and understand and wrap my head around the why I'm feeling those ways, the what I'm willing to do about it, what I can do about it, and understanding that everything, this too shall pass, what I deem as good and what I deem as not so good. And ultimately trying to move to a place of neutrality around labeling it as good or bad or otherwise. But I tell you, today I was struggling, lots of people on there saying, Happy Canada Day, Happy Canada Day, Happy Canada Day, and lots of my Indigenous friends saying, what am I celebrating? And our long history in Canada of systemic racism and the idea that I'm confused. That I'm confused and I'm conflicted. And there's so many things that I don't understand. There's so many things that I've been oblivious to live in my life. But today I'm questioning those things, and I'm really taking a concentrated look at what am I celebrating. And although there are things that I do celebrate, there are also things that I feel shame over. And those two things are happening at the same time. And one does not cancel out the other. And that there, my friends, is just what the dichotomy of life really is. That all of these things get to exist at the same time, and that nothing needs to be at war. That there's a gentle and kind way to reveal these things to ourselves, to take a look at something from just a little bit of a different standpoint, and to be willing to move our minds, to change and shift our opinions, to try and understand someone else's experience. And trying to do that not from a place of, well, this is what's happened to me, or this is how I feel about this, and always being ready to like knock somebody out if they have a differing opinion of you, if they have a different experience. It's about peace. And ultimately, I'm seeking to do that in here first. And today was a bit of a battle between the two. But I'm aware it's happening. And I think awareness is a huge key. And so ultimately, I'll leave you with this. My heart feels tremendous love and honor for all the human beings on the earth. I am proud and pleased to be one of them. What I do with my life is intuitively coming to me. And the more that I plug in and tune into that place, the more I get to take steps towards what it is that I say that I want. I know that I'm making an impact because people behind the scenes are messaging me and saying, thank you. Thank you for your inspiration. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your willingness just to keep showing up and doing the gig called life. I like the way you're doing it. Thank you for using your voice. Thank you for making a difference to me. Thank you for making a contribution. And I hear it. And at one point in time, it was easy to deflect those things. But at this point in time, it's my job to allow those things to breathe them in. Whew, and really allow them to land and take root and nurture those things, because that's what I want to grow more of. The other stuff I'm curious about. I want to honor whatever is going on inside, internally, this messy thing called life. I seek to understand not only mine, but others. Thank you so much for coming to visit me. I love you. And please remember, you're enough. You're enough just the way you are, with all your faults and all your great stuff, everything. It all matters. It all counts. Keep at it. It's worth it. So much love out there. See you tomorrow.